you for calling, or thank you for rolling with another week of Black College Experience. This is your CEO and founder, Keisha J. Kelly, coming straight out of ATL. It was a busy weekend for me. I'm sure it was a busy weekend for my co-host, Derek, over in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. How are you today, dear?
Busy was not the word for me. More like elated, exhausted, and want to sleep. My daughter turned 13 on yesterday, so I want to say happy birthday to my daughter, my only child. She only wants to be my only child, Anaj Lane Thomas. We had an all-girls day, all-day hangout for her birthday on yesterday, and all the girls had so much fun. I always try to give my daughter a wonderful birthday experience, and she said, "Daddy, this year you definitely didn't disappoint." So as long as she was happy, I'm happy.
Okay, and so before we go ahead and hop into before we go ahead and hop into this actual, go and hop into today's show, of course, we do have a guest that will be coming out on the second half. It is a NFL hopeful that has declared for the draft. He's a former Virginia Union running back, Tabyus Taylor, so he will be joining us. But before we do this, just to, we have to pause for this moment, just recognizing we lost a true legend today in sports. We truly did with Kobe Bryant. Can't even imagine what his family is feeling. Not only did Kobe passed, his daughter perished in that same accident, and they have actually said that there were 9 people. So in addition to those 2, 7 others, still waiting on confirmation on those other people. But like I said earlier, you don't have to be a fan of Kobe Bryant to recognize his death. You also don't have to be a fan or know someone to actually recognize death. And I truly believe that leaving our home and getting back safely is one of the most underrated blessings ever. We do not realize how blessed we are to come and go. And we take a lot of it for granted. So like I told people earlier, if I never tell you I'm sorry, or if I never tell you I love you, just know I do. Because we never know when it's going to be our last time. Life and death happens in the blink of an eye.
You are so right, and the words you kind of echo, I respect Kobe Bryant as the basketball player that he was. He was an amazing basketball player. He just happened to play for a team that I didn't care for. But you cannot argue the greatness that he brought to the game of basketball and to the lives of many young men and women who he touched with the game of basketball. So
now I'm not familiar with Orange Coast college baseball coach John Adabelli, but he was one of the people that I'm seeing confirmed that also. Yeah, I'm also seeing that he passed away. So again, and I'm the same way. Everybody knows I'm a LeBron James fan, but like I said earlier, when Stuart Scott passed away, I was the same way, and I remember crying. I remember that happening on a Sunday. I was traveling home, and I cried. And I remember, I just remember crying home with my father, and I remember being sad about that. So, but, not to harp on it. But like you said, you don't have to be a fan of it.
Exactly.
I wasn't like the biggest fan of Kobe Bryant, but you do respect his work, especially after retirement. And to a lot of people, we lost an icon, we lost a legend, we lost somebody in the sports world. But this is also somebody's father, somebody's son, somebody's husband, somebody's mentor, somebody's coach, a philanthropist. So it's a lot of stuff that's tied into Kobe Bryant and his legacy.
Yes, indeed. You're definitely right, Keisha. And we have a caller on the line, Sage Richmond, Virginia. Caller, who do we have?
Might be our guest.
Well, I can't see the number, so it's not showing me the number. Richmond, Virginia. Well, hopefully they'll be able to to be able to speak soon. Maybe they're just calling in to listen because it's not showing me the actual number of the individual. But let's continue until Tabyus calls in. Lead us off, Captain. Where we starting at?
Oh my God! I'm glad you said his name because I completely butchered that. You see, I didn't call the boy. Everything else, I completely butchered that. Thank you for that correction because I butchered his whole name, and I'm glad you said that before he even got on this telephone. But it's where. Let's start. I'm going to start here. So yesterday, y'all, I got a chance to cover Honda Battle of the Bands. And so for people that don't know, we do from time to time, I will opt out and do something different in Black college sports, or I'll do something different in the HBCU culture, or I'll do something different, period, in sports. I've been known to cover TBB,
Did you really cover that?
I'm sorry? They always let me come in and cover different things. So, TIP Atlanta is one of those things, and that's what I covered. But this time around, I actually covered Honda Battle of the Bands. Honda Battle of the Bands was a really great event. And when I say I was tired, when I left Derek, I was tired. It's a true culture. A band is a true culture that I've never experienced before, and you got a chance to showcase 8 great bands. And, they started with Benedict College. They went over to Hampton. Then you had Grambling. You had Tennessee State. You had FAMU, Jackson State, Prairie View, North Carolina A&T. It was just such great culture. 8 wonderful bands. So it was a great time, and it's just a showcase. Tank was the halftime. When I tell y'all, I have never I just uploaded footage after footage after footage. You can find it all on social media. It's generating. When I tell you I went to bed uploading stuff, I woke up this morning uploading stuff. So it is, and I truly appreciate the way that Honda has, Honda was hospitable, but it's a culture. It's more work than working in sports. I can tell you that. It's a culture.
Oh, yeah.
It is a culture. Well, and to see Mercedes-Benz top from bottom to top, it was truly just amazing.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures that you took. I was like, wow, Keisha's moving. I mean, you were everywhere. I mean, and here's the thing. It's not the fact that, we don't love the bands. We're a sports show.
Right.
The bands have their own podcast, and while we do give, when something happens that we want to talk about, we will talk about the band. You come here because you want to talk about HBCU sports. Keisha gave y'all some bonus coverage. Go and cover that band, Honda All-Star Band competition. And you know what? I'm still upset with them. They never invite Valley. Never invite Valley. And don't you bring up that y'all whooped our butt this week either. I don't want to hear it. You texting me talking about.
I was not. Mm-hmm. I wasn't.
Mm-hmm. But so overall, I mean, like, I know you was networking. I know you was meeting people.
I did. Overall, I did. Honda's like they're going to follow up to see if there's anything else, we needed or whatever. So Honda was one of those connections. And this is just something to drop out there. I am always most humble. Like I tell people all the time, people see me in my happy times, but I am the biggest crybaby. I'm really emotional. I'm a big crybaby, so certain things I can't talk about. And then just this week, this is the second time that this has happened to me, but just this week, I still don't know who did it. I can't tell you who did it, but somebody has nominated me for the Honda Power of Dreams Award for 2021. They tried to do it for 2020, but it'll actually be pushed to 2021 as a nomination. And I was so emotional and so full because oftentimes we look at what other people say and what other people do, and we don't realize that other people can't recognize or realize what your vision or your dream is because God didn't give it to them. And when I look at all of the things that we have accomplished with Black college experience and the opportunities that we have afforded different people, whether it be scholarships or interviews or exposure or whatever it might be, I get so overwhelmed. And I think to myself, why am I afforded this opportunity, or why would you want to award me? And then I have to think, why not me? Why not you? Why not us? because it's our time. We have done so many things.
Exactly.
And we deserve the same. You know, if somebody want to come say, hey, Keisha, Derek, thank you, job well done, we're going to award you for this. It's no reason for us to turn it down. It's okay to pat yourself on your back. And I always tell people, celebrate the small accomplishments. Celebrate them, because I know and you know that if our fathers were here, they would be celebrating with us. So we understand that we have to celebrate our accomplishments, because if we don't celebrate our accomplishments, nobody else is going to celebrate our accomplishments.
I agree with you there, and our fathers would definitely be proud of us for what we're doing. Definitely with you being the tip of the spearhead as far as in your arena doing what you're doing, giving those scholarships to those young ladies, and just seeing them be so happy and excited that someone wants to help them step out on faith and help them with their academic journey. I mean, that's part of your lasting legacy.
Right.
So let's talk about, until Tabyus calls in, let's talk about the Senior Bowl. You remember last year I was hot about the Senior Bowl because we did not have a lot of HBCU representation at the Senior Bowl. And it happened again. We had, to my knowledge, I looked at the rosters. If there were any replacement players, they did not update them on the roster. Unfortunately, I was not able to watch the game because I was chauffeuring 10 teenage girls around town. But I saw one player, and that was Alex Taylor, offensive tackle out of South Carolina State University. And he had a Tabyus impact on the Senior Bowl. They're calling him another sleeper pick. He's one of the largest men there. 6'8", 300-plus pounds, long arms, big hands, you know. And when you look at the videos, he more than held his own at the Senior Bowl against some of the quote-unquote college football's elite from the SCSC, the Big Ten, the Big 12. You had one HBCU representative, Alex Taylor out of South Carolina State, with all of HBCU on his shoulders at the Senior Bowl. And, you know, it bothers me that we only had one. What do you think about just having one representative for HBCUs at the Senior Bowl?
Well, I think, it gets to be a fact. It's been, I've gone to Senior Bowl in the past, and it's getting to be slimmer and slimmer pickings. And I think I harp at the fact that it's, less representation of HBCUs. And I think that it's kind of like a comment I made the other day. We're in 2020, and we're still looking at, this is the first time, or we have two more, or this is the first time such and such happened. But I think it's absolutely, it's awful. And I think we have to do better on what we look at as a stereotype. We don't have to keep looking at, it's a small school, and that's why they're not coming. But I think our guest is on the phone. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, he is. We have our guest. And first off, we want to talk about this young man a little bit. A lot of people may have felt like he was crazy for declaring for the draft as a junior from a Division II HBCU. But he has an interesting story that he wants to tell. And I'm not going to hold it any longer. We have on for us Virginia Union, former running back, and NFL draft hopeful, Tabyus Taylor. What's going on, T?
Nothing much. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're
okay,
doing
first
fine.
of all, I didn't call you all the wrong name. I called you Tabyus, so I'm glad he said Tabyus before you got on the telephone, because I would have been real shame. I just need you to know that. I'm real honest, and I would have been real shame. would be real shame.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
So when we saw that you declared for the draft last week, I got on the Tabyus Taylor train right away, because I looked at your junior stats and people said, he didn't have as good a season he had his junior year versus his sophomore year. He's crazy for declaring for the draft, especially coming from the HBCU. And then he coming from Division II HBCU. But they don't know your story. They don't know your grind. They don't know what Tabyus Taylor can do on the football field. So why don't you give our listening audience a little introduction to who Tabyus Taylor is, the football player.
Okay, well, I'm Tabyus Taylor. I'm from Hopewell, Virginia. I've been playing football since I was at least 8 years old. My mom didn't really give us an option to, not just football, but baseball, soccer, you name the sport, then we was doing it. So growing up, we always stayed active in every sport possible. So I ended up falling in love with football when I got to at least high school. I say my 10th grade year, I ended up getting moved to varsity. So I ended up playing receiver and linebacker. The next year, I moved to a receiver and running back. And then the following year, I was at quarterback. So football was always a dream, and it was always a dream to go to the NFL. So I just grind every day and just stay prayed up and just kept chasing my dream.
Right. So people don't know that you were one of the top running backs out of Virginia. And you were committed. You were a 3-star running back, so you were committed to Virginia Tech. So a lot of people may not know that about you. You're not just some run-of-the-mill player who, hey, I'm going to go try to go to the NFL. You are a legitimate Power 5 running back at an HBCU. So talk about just your recruitment to how did you end up at Virginia Union?
Okay, well, out of high school, I had a full scholarship to go to Virginia Tech. I didn't meet the criteria for my SAT score, so I ended up going to a prep school in Atlanta called Atlanta Sports Academy. I stayed there for a year and a half. Then I after the season was over, I came back home. I was going to go to New Mexico Military Academy, but I ended up landing at Virginia Union. One of my former coaches that coached against me actually in high school, he called me up and was like, hey, man, I would really love to have you at Virginia Union. So when I heard that, I jumped on ship and went right to Virginia Union.
And let's talk about your freshman year. You didn't start, but you contributed. But let's talk about that big year, that sophomore season when you just were a terror on the ground and also catching passes out of the backfield. Talk about that season and what makes you feel like you were ready for the NFL.
Oh, that season was great. Like I said, my freshman year, I played a little bit, but I ended up getting hurt like the third game of the season, so I missed like 6 games after that. So coming off the off season, I just grind. I knew that I had to grind. I had to lose weight. I had to get faster. So every day during the summer, I just grind, worked out. I trained hard every day. So coming into that spring, we ended up getting new coaches, a whole new coaching staff. So I was talking to the new coach. They said, hey, we'd love to keep you at running back. We just want you to keep grinding, and this position will be yours. So I kept grinding every day, and eventually when it got to the game, I started the first game. I think I ended up scoring like 2 to 3 touchdowns. So the season ended up great. I think I ended up like 1,500 rushing yards, 500 receiving yards, 28 touchdowns. So the season actually went great. I think it was my best season since I've been at Virginia Union.
All right. So, Keisha, you have anything you want to talk to Tabyus about before I ask my next question? Keisha.
I said, go ahead. I'll wait.
Okay. All right.
So go ahead.
Now, coming out of Virginia Union, you declared as a junior. So all the talking heads, all the HBCU fans feel like you're crazy. Let them know why you're not crazy, and let them know what made you decide to go ahead and declare for the NFL draft as a junior.
Okay, well, I live by a motto that man can't tell, only God can tell. So I believe that it was the perfect time for me. You know, like I am 24 years old. I feel like I have a lot more experience than a lot of running backs my age. So I just felt like I was ready. I prayed for it. It wasn't something that I rushed into. I actually prayed for it. I talked to my friends, my family, and everybody had their own decision. So when I ended up coming with my own decision, I still had to pray. I prayed even harder, and God just sent me blessings. Out of nowhere. I ended up getting an agent. My agent was talking very great. I signed with my agent, and next thing you know, I just knew I was ready to declare for the draft. So that's what I did. I ended up taking a step forward and taking a couple steps forward, and just knew that it was all going to be worth it.
So let's talk about your agency. What agency did you sign with?
I signed with Priority Athletes.
Okay, let's talk about kind of the plan that they have in place, for you to get to the NFL, because agents are very important. So let's talk about, if you can, the plan that they have to get you into the NFL.
Okay, well, the plan is for my agent just to keep grinding. He said, he can't actually tell you what's going to happen, but he can give you scenarios of things that could happen. So
that's correct.
He wants me to just keep training my body, look good, get faster, run good, and just like we both say that God will do everything else. He'll do the rest of the work.
Yes, he will. Now, the NFL draft is coming up in a few months. The combine is next month. So, I know we talked earlier. So, I would love to see you at the combine. So, do we have any news on you potentially getting an invite to the combine to showcase your skills?
No, sir. We not just yet. We don't have any news, but my agent's going to set me up a couple pro days. We're going to see what we're going to do the pro day at. We're just going to work and train until the pro day, and hey, who knows? Invite might come out of nowhere. We just never know. But we're just taking it a day at a time and just going to grind by the time. I'm not really looking for some big, combine invite, so because I believe in just working hard. I've been an underdog for a long time, so if that's the way we got to get it, then that's how we're gonna get it.
Right, because people don't understand. You're not a small running back. You're a big running back, and the big running back is making a comeback in the NFL. One of my favorite running backs is Christian Okoye. Do you know who Christian Okoye is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's nicknamed the Nigerian Nightmare. But you're a big running back, but you're not a slow running back. Tell everybody what your 40 time is.
My 40 time is a 4.5. I'm 6'1", 225, so I bring a lot of power behind me. Also, I can get out the backfield and get away from me too.
Right, so that's the thing. So let's say if you lost a little weight, you could probably shave a tenth of a second off and get to a 4.4. And with your ability to catch the ball out the backfield, and then you still going to have your power along with it. Hey, you know what? I know what team I want you to go to. Even if they don't draft you. I hope you get drafted, but I would love to see you in the Andy Reid offense. Keisha knows I'm a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, and we're in the Super Bowl this year, so we don't have I guess you could say, a bell cow running back. So that's a team you could go and showcase your skills for, and Andy Reid knows how to use a dual-threat running back with talents like yourself. So that's all I have for right now until I'm going to let Keisha ask some questions. Go ahead, Kels.
Okay, so mine is not really statistics. Mine is always driven towards HBCU. And, of course, I come out of Southern University. Derek comes out of Mississippi Valley. And, of course, we're older than you. So, ours is a little bit more dated. We're a little bit older, or a lot bit older, but who's counting? But anyhow, when we look at it, we know we can look back to we don't even say 30 years ago. We know a lot of greats came out of HBCUs. We know our Walter Paytons, our Jerry Rices, our Steve McNairs. We know these people came out of HBCUs. And oftentimes they'll look and say, why HBCU? Why did you choose a HBCU? Tell us, why did you choose a HBCU? What made you say, okay, Virginia Union is that option. I'm going to choose a HBCU.
Well, actually, coming out of high school, I didn't choose a HBCU. I actually chose Virginia Tech. So,
right
after that, when I went to Atlanta Sports Academy and I was finished there, I didn't choose the HBCU. The HBCU chose me. The HBCU, it was amazing, life changing. The opportunities that Virginia Union gave me, it led me to where I am today.
That's awesome. And
also, I believe the HBCUs were founded on the belief that everyone deserves access to a college education. And that's exactly what Virginia Union did to me. It gave me the chance to broaden my insights on just the black culture, not even just the black culture, the diversity of the culture.
Okay, and you say something very important, and you hit the nail on the head, because a lot of times a lot of people don't understand it. I had this conversation with somebody just a day ago, and we were talking about the diaspora of the actual other culture of HBCUs, and he said the same thing. he actually made it to saying living in Atlanta is like being in an HBCU 365 days out of the year. And I asked him, I said, well, what about the diversity of HBCUs? And he really didn't have an answer. And that's the thing. A lot of times people don't associate the diversity with HBCUs because it really is a diverse culture. And if you don't believe it, you can look on some of these in the athletic department. You can see it across the board in different sports where there's not just African-American players on these teams. But I think it's really important because a lot of times people, they don't associate the HBCU as the person that's going to be drafted. They don't associate the person that's going to get the chance. We're too small. We shouldn't be. We come from small schools. So they don't associate that with going into the draft. So now that you have declared for the draft, how are you feeling? Like what? Because I know that you'll have the naysayers, the people in your ears, the people telling you shouldn't have declared, and you're just trying to fight them off. What are you telling yourself? What is your agent telling you? What is your family saying to you? How are you feeling now at this point?
Well, actually, I'm actually feeling great because I know that I prayed for it and it's something that I didn't just step out there and just decided to do. I know that I talked to my family about it. I know I talked to God about it. He gave me a decision, and I went with that decision. So my whole life, people been saying, don't do this and don't do that. So if I live for them, then I believe I wouldn't be here where I am today. So I believe that just making my own decision and talking to God about things that I should do is the right way to do it. People might think, oh, it's crazy. He's only a junior. He should finish his last year. And I'd have heard it all. But I just knew I couldn't live with myself if I wanted to listen to the naysayers. And naysayers, they really just drive me to even do it more, just to know that I didn't pray for it. You guys might not believe, but and my team, people on my team, we believe. We know we can do it. And that's all I needed was my team. I didn't need no outside people. All I needed was the people that was around me. So that's what I stuck with, and that's what I stayed with, and that's how I made my decision.
I totally do agree. When you're continuing to work hard, you're continuing to persevere, and you're doing those things, it's the grind. When people tell you you can't do it, I live by the motto, when they say you can't do it twice and take pictures. That's what you have to do. So when they tell you can't do it twice and take pictures. So it's to say, hey, this is my memory. Hey, guess what? I did it. But in hindsight, it really is. It's a breath of fresh air to see, because we do, not to take away from anybody else, but we see everybody declare for the draft in other conferences, other PWIs, but you don't see us declaring for the draft. So Derek had said, oh, this is the second time. So to me, it's exciting because, I've done the draft a couple of times, and it's exciting to see, what happens in the end. And people always say, somebody told me, they said, hey, y'all excited about y'all 3 or 4 people getting drafted, and we're sending such and such from Alabama. One person is good enough for me. I don't care if it's one. One is good enough for me. One person, 5 people, 10 people, as long as we got somebody coming. And I truly believe that you have your time. Your time to shine is coming. So we're going to be able to say, hey, we interviewed Tabyus, not Tabyus as I called you. We're going to be able to say we interviewed Tabyus on this show. Go ahead, Derek.
Okay. Well, we have someone special who is called in, and gotta have her give her comment, because this is someone who's very close to you. Area code 804, last 4, 8447. You on with the Black College Experience. And Tabyus, you know that number. So, Mama,
yes, sir.
So, Mama, how you doing?
Yes, I'm fine. How y'all doing?
We're doing fine. So tell us something about your son that HBCU fans and his future employers in the NFL need to know about his determination, and that this isn't just, oh, I'm declaring and you don't think I'm going to do well. I'm declaring and I'm going to do well.
Tabyus is a very determined young man. Always been a child I had no problems with. I pushed him, just pushed him out, and he's just an overall good kid. And I just wanted to say, I just asked God to order his steps. As long as he walks in the right path and follow what God has for him, I just truly believe the best is going to always come for him. And not because he's my son, but a very well-mannered young man and very gifted. He puts 150% behind anything he does, whether it's washing the dishes or running a football. He's always been a good kid.
Yes, indeed. And you know what, Tabyus? You know, I'm glad that your mom called in, because that just shows you that your mom is supporting you to take time out of her day to call in the podcast and give her well wishes. And Mama Taylor, I'm just, when I saw your son's film and his video, and I see the way he grinds, you know, I'm a fan of his. I'm a fan of his, and I pray that he does well and has all the success that God has for him.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right.
And I'd like to say thanks to everyone that supports Tabyus. I just want to tell everyone that's listening, thanks for supporting my son.
Oh, most definitely. Keisha, do you have anything more for Tabyus?
I don't. I only thing I can say is I don't really say good luck. I say more so God bless, because whatever is destined for you, we know that nobody can put anything to it and nobody can take anything away from it. So whatever he has set before you, you will accomplish.
Go ahead, Kel.
That's it. That's it.
Well, Tabyus, before we let you go, I just want to give you this message. You're family now. I tell this to every guest that we have. So when you get in the NFL, you can call in anytime we're having a show and just drop knowledge, or just drop, hey, I'm just calling to check in with y'all, because your story is nowhere close to being over in the game of football, because I'm a fan of yours. I'm hoping you get your chance. But hey, if the NFL is ignorant to your talent, man, there are other football leagues you can play in. The XFL is back. The Canadian Football League is there. So because we know the NFL can act like, you know, hey, they don't want to give HBCU players a chance, but they're missing out on some great talent. And watching your film and watching the way a man your size can tiptoe, and then man, look, hey, someone needs to give you a chance. And if the NFL isn't wise enough, I'm glad that there are other football leagues where you can play, but the NFL needs to, so you can get that big fat check. Yeah, that's what you need. I'm going to put that blessing on you. So, man, I want to thank you for calling in, and hopefully next time we hear from you, you'll be calling in and let us know who you're going to be suiting up and going to training camp for.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it. Thank you guys very much.
Oh, thank you. Have a good night, Tabyus.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, Kels, he is an awesome young man. I'm glad his mom called in, just to, you know, lay her wisdom on him, lay her blessings on him, and also, you know, just give that motherly message on our podcast tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, Captain, where you want to go now? I want to talk about this new little segment I got. I know you saw it in all caps. Women in sports moment. As y'all know, this is a woman-run business. So when I saw this, even though only one of these ladies are graduates of an HBCU, I wanted to highlight a women in sports moment that's going to be happening during the Super Bowl week. And that is MEAC staffers are going to assist with the Super Bowl. And I'm going to put this in your path, CEO, my CEO. One day you going to be assisting at the Super Bowl, doing something at the Super Bowl when it comes to media or representing HBCUs, because I know that's your passion. Just to run this down, the MEAC's Berry and Sale to assist the NFL during Super Bowl week. And this is from the MEAC's page. Carly Berry, who serves as a special to Commissioner Thomas, and Michaela Sale, the conference's marketing and corporate policy intern, will assist the NFL as part of its experience program. Both Berry and Sale will assist with 2 NFL player engagement programs, the Broadcast Bowl on January 30th and 31st, and All Pro Dad on February 1st. They also will get to help and provide assistance to the NFL on game day. Barry is a graduate of Penn State, and Sale is a graduate of Hampton University. Chaos, what do you think about this women in sports moment?
Always a breath of fresh air, as I always say. And when you say one day I'm going to be one of those people, it's always good. Like I just told him, even if it's only one person, we're making first and we're making strides. So I think it is. And women are slowly but surely coming in too. And y'all know I live by the saying, the future is female. So, any time when we can break into this, and it's not to take away from men, but we have been fighting for so long to have our place at the table, to have our place in this space. We have been fighting for so long, and we're still fighting. So, if we can pull up and we can do, we're not trying to steal the spotlight from men, but it's to show that we can do the same thing. We can be equal. We can do the same job or do what you do, and we have the same knowledge and the same base. So don't take anything from us because of our gender. Doesn't mean we're less knowledgeable. It's just that we're two different people. It's a male versus a female. But I think it's a really great thing to see what's actually happening.
Exactly. And speaking of the future is female, last week I Keisha knew I had been wanting to work on this for a while, but it's always on my mind to try and craft this. There's a show that I want to, a part of Black College Experience podcast called where I want to have an all-women panel. You're not going to hear my voice. It's going to be all women. And we're going to hear all women's opinions on sports. And it's going to be called, Keisha named it, The Future is Female. So, ladies, if you have a love for HBCU sports, or you know someone who contributed to HBCU sports, we're going to start out with HBCU sports contributors first. And then once we get under our belt, then of course we want any woman who's contributing to sports. But first, we're an HBCU show, so we want to trump our HBCU contributors first and foremost. So ladies, men, if you're listening, if you have anybody you would like to possibly be a part of our first show, man, email us at blackcollegeexperience@gmail.com. That's blackcollegeexperience@gmail.com, or you can inbox us at Black College Experience on Facebook. We check the messenger. And we have a couple crazies coming in that messenger, and Keisha should be handling them. But that's something that I have always wanted to try and put together, working with Keisha. And I've always been a supporter of women in sports. And also women in technology. Everyone knows I'm an IT guy, and my mentor, Dr. Constance G. Bland, rest in peace, was a staunch supporter of women in technology. So I feel like while I'm still getting a chance to support women, and then supporting a black woman that I truly care for as well, and bringing this to fruition is something that needs to happen, because we need to hear your voices. So ladies, gentlemen, if you're listening, if you want to be a part of the Future is Female segment, hit us up, blackcollegeexperience@gmail.com, so that we can get this thing rocking and rolling. Some women I already have in mind to have a show for, but hey, we'll take all comers. So, Kels, what do you think about that segment that we're going to create for women contributors in HBCU sports?
Well, I'm excited because I had told somebody about it, and it was like, wow. Yeah. So I think it's a really great idea. However, the only thing I say is we won't hear your voice, but you got to moderate. You got to do something.
No. I'm going to be muted the whole time. I'm going to be cueing you.
You got to moderate. You got to moderate. You got to do something.
I got to moderate. You're going to put me to work, huh? You're not going to let me have no free night?
Yeah, you still got, no free night. You still got to moderate. Still got to do something. But it is. I think it's really exciting because, I do. I look at, people be like, Keisha, you do so much work, you do so much good stuff, and do this and this with HBCUs. But then I often turn it over to Tiffany Green, who I truly admire, who I truly look at as a role model. I look at Paula Jackson as a role model. People that have shaped the way. I look at people like Katara Key, people like that have really shaped the way, and they have really, really made me feel welcome in sports. People that I look up to. And okay, oh my God, this is what you're doing. And in those moments, I get truly excited because it's okay, these people have truly molded, they have shaped the way. They have done a great thing. And it's just super exciting to know those people have literally just paved the way for me in sports. They've done so many great things, and you just see so much good things happening. And even at this moment, you see all the great things that women are doing in sports, whether on the court or whatever sport it is. Like, I'll give you examples. Shaquille Hill, former Grambling Tiger. Literally, this girl is on her, third triple-double, quadruple-double, actually.
Overseas?
So that is just crazy amazing. Crazy amazing. So I'm super excited to talk about things that we have done in sports, how we have been impacted, how many people actually touch my life, how many people work with me. Kyler Williams in the SEAC. Well, I sound like I'm doing like a speech on the awards or something, but I'm super excited to talk about all the different things that we have been affected with, how we deal with HBCU sports, how we're looked at, how we have to literally knock down the door and knock over the table sometimes when it comes to women in HBCU sports and women in sports in general, because sometimes people like to tie us to one thing and they think that we can't do anything. And I do. Sometimes I'll go off the deep end, off the cuff, and I have to remind people it's not just men that are discussing these things. It's not just men running social media pages. It's not just men talking about sports on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever it is. It's women talking about these same issues. And if you follow us, you know that it's women and men talking about these same issues. And just because I don't always get into deep stats and deep stuff like that does not mean that I don't understand or I don't know the length or the depth of the game or whatever it is we're talking about. It's just that sometimes we all discuss things in a different manner.
Exactly. I mean, Keisha, I don't know the depths of a lot because my football playing experience stopped in high school. Yes, I did try to walk on unsuccessfully at Valley, but that was a guy letting me know that my future was not in playing sports. Everything that my opinions are basically just everyday layman's opinions. I'm not a whiz with sports. I know a little bit about some of the analytics, but I mean, I'm in the category kind of with you. A lot of people feel like I shouldn't be talking sports, but guess what? We can do what we want to do because guess what? We pay our bills. We can talk sports. We want to talk sports. So, I mean, for anyone who thinks that women don't have a seat at the table, get your butt up and walk away from the table. I mean, that's just my opinion. We got about a little bit over 15 minutes before we talk about. We didn't get a chance to update much on the hardwood. Let's do an update on the hardwood before we drop the rest of the.
Let's take a commercial break. Okay. Let's take a commercial break here.
All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna come back with a hardwood update on the Black College Experience podcast. We'll be right back in 31 seconds.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, we're back with more Black College Experience, and we're about to give you the hardwood update in HBCU. So we're going to first start in the SWAC, and y'all know we're going to do women first because the women play first, so we're going to talk about them first as far as HBCUs. And on my daughter's birthday, Kels, these are the scores as we run them down. Your Lady Jags beat up on Alabama State 69-47. Prairie View defeated Arkansas Pine Bluff. My good friend Don Brown losing to Prairie View. Another good friend of mine, Tamika Reed, is now undefeated. Continues an undefeated start in SWAC play, defeating Grambling Jackson State 61-46. Now, Alabama A&M defeats Alcorn State 70-46-7, and Texas Southern beats up on my Devilettes 88-58. The standings so far. Let's take a good look at these standings. And of course, Jackson State 7-0, Texas Southern 5-1, your Lady Jags 5-2, Alabama A&M 4-2, Alcorn State 4-3, Alabama State 2-4, followed by Prairie View and UAB with the same record. Grambling at 1-6. They're missing Chicago Hill right now. They need her back. And my Lady Devil is 0-6. So, Kels, what's your opinion on the standings early in SWAC play?
Well, I'll start with Tamika Reed. It's really it's breathtaking to say that, to say the least, because if we see where they actually finished last year, and we see that they went on to the SWAC tournament, and then of course Southern ended up finishing out. The Lady Jaguars did finish and win out, but of course the Lady Tigers were right behind them. So to see that they're undefeated right now, I'd say it looks good right now, and this could very well, we never know how it could play out as the season rolls on. But I definitely have to give props to Coach Reed and what she's doing over at Jackson State. They're looking really good right now. Now, I didn't expect Grambling to be where they are, but, until we get ready to make a deep run into conference play, anything could happen. Did not expect, again, Grambling to be where they are. But we do see where things can go. How things can change throughout. And then, of course, everybody gives their predictions, but we'll see where the season goes. Where did you say Alabama State was? I'm sorry.
Alabama State was, let me pull this back up. Let's see here. Come on, computer. There we go. Alabama State's 4-3. No, sorry, 2-4. 2-4.
Okay, so then another one. Alabama State is another team that I don't really look forward to be in the lower half, because Alabama State has always been a team to be exceptionally high. They've always won. They've always in the past won out in the SWAC. So in these I guess these last couple of years, it's just hard to see the difference in this Alabama State team over, I'm gonna say, the course of 10 years maybe. But again, I'm excited for Jackson State and Coach Reed and what they're doing. So we'll see how this turns around. Like I said, once they start to make the deep runs, you always have to look at and factor in Texas Southern. Is always a factor for me. You got to look at Southern, because you're going to be the returning tournament champ, and then of course Jackson State that's topping off at number 11.
Yes, indeed. And our SWAC Women's Basketball Player of the Week comes from the Alcorn State Braves. Alcorn State junior guard Keisha Clark, I hope I pronounced it correctly, is the Women's Player of the Week. The Natchez Native recorded a career-high 23 points and 9 field goals in a come-from-behind victory over Pine Bluff. Clark went 15-22, 60% from the floor, while averaging 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals, and an assist per game in the 2 road victories, helping the Braves extend its win streak to 3 games. Other notable performances: Deja Rogan, Jackson State; Siani Cryer, Texas Southern; Jayla Crawford, ASU. And let's see. Now, the men. Jumping over to the men. Also on the great day of January 25th, my daughter's birthday. Yes, I'm a proud father. Your Jaguars defeated Alabama State 80-71. Prairie View defeated Pine Bluff 67-54. Jackson State defeated Grambling 71-53. Alcorn State defeated Alabama A&M in one of those one-point thrillers that you love so much, 59-58. And of course, Texas Southern unfortunately blows out my Delta Devils 80-67. And these SWAC standings so far. Atop the SWAC standings are Prairie View and Texas Southern, both at 5-1, followed by the Braves at 5-2. Your Jaguars are 4-3. We have Grambling and Jackson State both at 3-4. Alabama A&M and UAPB and Alabama State both at 2-4. And Delta Devils, my squad, bringing up the rear at 1-5. Kels, what's you think about the men so far?
So as far as the men, I'll start off with the Jaguars. Now, if we looked at where the Jaguars started, they were literally, I remember seeing them winning 0 games. And so now it looks like Coach Woods is going to try to make a run now in the SWAC. Now, the funny thing is last year, of course, we expect both teams to be able to compete, is what people think at any school. If the guys are winning, you think the girls should be winning. If the girls are winning, you think the guys should be winning. And so now, it just, Coach Woods being new coming in, it's like, okay, you got to give him time to recruit. You got to get him time to get his people in. But I think that's really interesting that now you're going 4-3. So again, when they make you make the run down the deep stretch of SWAC play, we'll see what's going to happen. Prairie View, you said Prairie View Alcorn?
Prairie View. I'm sorry, let me get the man back up. I closed it out. Standings. Let's see here. Prairie View and Alcorn. Come on, computer. All right. Prairie View and Texas Southern sit 5-1. And then Alcorn's at 5-2.
Okay, so now if everybody remembers, of course, last year Prairie View and Texas Southern were the two to battle it off head-to-head in the men's basketball tournament, with Prairie View being the top, so they won. So of course there's no surprise there. Now Alcorn, Alcorn did fairly well. So to see Alcorn coming right in behind, that's pretty interesting. I do want to see where Jackson State will fare in this. I do. Through the whole season. But again, it's early on, so we don't know what's going to happen. But again, when they get ready to start making this stretch in the SWAC, it's going to get very competitive, and we know that anything can happen, because if we just look back to, you talk about how Southern beat they beat Valley, but then you look at the week before they played Grambling. The ladies beat Grambling, but the guys couldn't beat Grambling. Grambling just lost on their side with Jackson State. So, I think it just kind of turns. It just kind of depends.
Exactly. And our SWAC men's basketball player of the week, again, coming from the reservation, Deshaun Andrews has averaged 24 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.5 steals per game. The New York, South Carolina native currently in a career night against the Golden Lions with a career high 30 points. And then he scored 18 points against my Delta Devils. So congratulations to both men and women players of the week coming from the Braves. I know Alcorn's loving that, getting both players of the week. So now we're ready to move on to the MEAC for our last couple 8 minutes before we get out of here. Bethune-Cookman defeats North Carolina A&T 69-58. Delaware State beats North Carolina Central 64-60. Howard blows out FAMU 72-58. Morgan State edges Coppin State 47-42. Norfolk State put a whooping on South Carolina State 76-42. And our women's honorees for Player of the Week in the MEAC are Hanaya Moten out of South Carolina State. Defensive Player of the Week is Leon Hill out of North Carolina A&T. And Anissa Rivera out of North Carolina Central. So our standings in the MEAC. Wow. Norfolk State is undefeated in conference, followed by Bethune-Cookman at 5-1. Delaware State 3-1, Morgan State 5-2, North Carolina A&T 4-2, Howard 3-3, North Carolina Central 2-4, also South Carolina State 2-4, Maryland Shore 1-4, Coppin State 0-6, and Florida A&M ineligible. There's 2-5. So what do you think about the women so far in the MEAC?
If we took a long shot, of course I'm gonna take North Carolina A&T. That's what I have for that one, because I followed them. So, but we took a long shot. I'm gonna take North Carolina A&T. I was surprised when they lost to Coppin last week, but if I take a long shot, I'm looking at A&T.
All right, and on the men's side, run down these scores. North Carolina Central defeated Delaware State 72-45. North Carolina A&T defeated Bethune-Cookman 98-95. Morgan State defeated Coppin State 50-48. FAMU beats Howard 87-83. Norfolk State beats South Carolina State 73-62. And the standings. Norfolk State 5-0, North Carolina A&T 5-1, South Carolina State and North Carolina Central both 4-2, Morgan State 4-3, Bethune-Cookman 3-3, Delaware State 1-3, Meditation Shore 1-4, Coppin State 1-5, Howard 0-6, and FAMU 4-3. And the award winners in the MEAC. All right. Co-player of the week is Jibri Blunt and Brendan Melly Bacon. Blunt out of North Carolina Central and Bacon out of Coppin State. Defensive player of the week again is Bacon out of Coppin State. And rookie of the week is Tyrese Jenkins out of Norfolk State. And Kels, we're not going to have time to go through the whole SEAC and CIAA, but you covered a couple of games, I think. When was that? What game was that you covered?
Game I did Clark Atlanta, and I did Clark Atlanta versus Savannah State.
So let's talk about the atmosphere of that game, because that was a heated matchup, correct?
Okay, so Clark Atlanta and Savannah State did play on Monday. It was a great game. The thing is that Clark Atlanta was peaking at the right time, and Savannah State was just coming off their losing streak. So this time, Savannah State they did win. The guys did managed to win. So the guys, from Savannah State managed to win. So both Clark Atlanta, this is ironic, Clark Atlanta and Morehouse lost on Monday night. That's the ironic thing, and that's what they were saying. Both of the AUC teams lost. On yesterday, it was a battle on the hardwood. The battle of the AUC is what they call it. Clark Atlanta and Morehouse did battle it out on the hardwood. And for people that, if you've never experienced that game, if you're ever in Atlanta, you gotta experience that game. It's one of the best on the hardwood that I'll say that you can watch. But this came down to a 5-point win. Morehouse did take it away at Ford Arena, 67-62. So it is. It gets really crazy, and it's a battle back and forth. But the Morehouse Maroon Tigers did take it away, and then they will play over at Clark in February, so next month. So I will get a chance to cover that. But because it was at the same time, slated around the same time as Honda yesterday, I was unable to do both. So, yeah, there's that.
Yes, indeed. And before we get out of here, we have one little bit of conversation we need to have. There has been a new athletic director hired in the SWAC. And this is a story I remember when Keisha called and told me about it. I was like, oh, my. So, Keisha, let's talk about UAPB's new athletic director. Let's see, Chris Peterson as the new Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics at the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Well, of course, I did. I heard the news before, and of course, it wasn't something that I was able to release, and I still hadn't got they didn't give me the go-ahead, but since you said that, I guess it's out there now. But, I'm one of those people. You tell me to hold on to it, I have to hold on to it, media or not. I'm not one of those people that I feel like I got to break a story first. I just kind of fall in line, which is so weird because today people treated me like I worked for ESPN. It was like I came to your page first to see about Kobe Bryant. I had to make sure. I called, I texted, I said, yo, I'm sitting here like everybody else. I'm reading stuff. And honestly, y'all, my 20-year-old nephew texted me, and I was asleep. And he was like, have y'all heard about Kobe Bryant being killed in a car? And I was like, no, I didn't hear about that, being killed in a plane crash. No. And then I started looking, and my sister's like, it's everywhere. And then, of course, the story starts to unfold. But, yes, things are changing. Things are changing rapidly. Things are changing in what we look at in the culture of HBCU sports and how we do things and who we hire. And not only that, there have been some other changes come about, and I'm just excited to see different things coming about, not to get into the deep stories of the UAPB, right, but it's really exciting to see the deeper things. We know the other things, but to the world, you just want to see a program be successful, so you can talk about that. Go ahead.
Well, Chris Peterson is no stranger to running an athletic department. He was an athletic director at UA Little Rock, and he was, I guess you could say, essential to helping build that athletic program up. And he's someone that I feel is going to help UAPB grow its athletic department. because of course, one of the resources you need as an athletics department is fundraising. You need the green. And this is this man's specialty. I mean, he's very good at fundraising. He was an athletic director at a FBS, I guess you could say, PWI, as we want to call our PWI institutions, and he's at an HBCU. After taking some time off, I wish him well. I mean, he's now the boss of one of my good friends. Well, actually, two people I know, the both head basketball coaches at UAPB. I know personally, Coach Ivy. Probably I have to make him remember me from Valley. I met him a couple of times, and of course, I went to high school with Don Brown. So I think he's going to do well because you need stability in your athletic department, and I think A.D. Peterson is going to bring some stability to UAPB. I think he's going to help steer this ship in a way that's going to elevate UAPB. And I don't care that he's white. Doesn't bother me. The man has credentials to do the job. That's going to bother a lot of people. The man has the credentials to do the job. As long as he leads UAPB in a way, form, and fashion that can help steer that athletic department to wins against everybody except for Valley and Southern for Keisha. Who cares? The man is good at his job. What do you think, Kel, before we get out of here?
I said, like you said, I don't care about the race as long as you can get the job done and get the program rolling. It's been a lot of changes over with Pine Bluff, so you want to get over there and you want to get some things done. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
All right, so go ahead and close us out, CEO.
All right, so this week coming up, we're hoping that everyone has a great week. Again, let's be mindful of all of those that perished today in that plane crash. It's going to be a long week, and a lot of people I know it's going to be hard to disconnect, but because we're in sports, not just HBCU sports, we have both Derek and I have both dealt with other sports and continue to deal with other sports and report other sports. It's going to be hard to detach from it, and it's hard. But on an exciting note for Derek, his Kansas City Chiefs are playing in Super Bowl on next Sunday. So we will not be having a show on next Sunday, so he can sit down somewhere and he can enjoy it. And also on the Kansas City Chiefs team, one of his team actually you have Alex Brown, which is a South Carolina State alum. He will be playing in Super Bowl. So that is
who you picking before we go? Chiefs or Niners? You know who I'm picking. Who you picking?
I am not going to give my pick on this thing because I need to study. You need to give me a day or two, so I got to study and figure out what I want to do.
We're not going to have a show before the Super Bowl. You got to give me a good answer.
That's what I said before. I'm not giving you a pick. It has been a great week. We will see y'all after the Super Bowl. Have a good night.
We are out of here. Peace out with Black Holiday Experience. Chiefs going to win the Super Bowl. We out of here.